Hey, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about on this video a little bit about Apache Kafka versus Pulsar. A very quick thing, basically. Just to let you know. So basically, Kafka and Pulsar, both Apache projects, they're both open source distributed streaming platforms, but there are some key differences between the two, basically. So now Kafka, it's definitely more mature. It came out of LinkedIn and now spun out to Confluent. It's been widely adopted for in the industry for like large scale data streaming. It has a wide range of use cases, including like real time data processing, log aggregation, of course, too, and event driven architectures, which is a very large thing nowadays. One of its main advantages, of course, it's high performance and scalability. It's like well suited for like handling high volumes and high throughput and very low latency data streams. Now, Apache Pulsar, on the other hand, is like it's a relatively newer and is designed to address some of the limitations of Kafka. It's a multi-model messaging system that supports both queuing and a publisher subscribe semantics. It's like built in support for stream processing, making it more like a versatile platform. Pulsar offers a better, performance, scalability, and improved resource utilization compared to Kafka. I mean, with Kafka, it's still dependent on Zookeeper, where Pulsar isn't. Now, some of the pros of Kafka is like, of course, it's widely adopted and all throughout the industry. It's high performance and scalability, and it's better suited for like high volume and like high throughput and low latency data streams. One of the cons, of course, is limited to publisher subscriber semantics, basically. Whereas the pros of Pulsar, it's multi-model, of course, a multi-model messaging system, and it's built-in support for like stream processing, and it has a good performance and scalability for resource utilization compared to Kafka at that point. The cons, of course, for Pulsar is it's not as mature as Kafka. It's relatively new, about 3 or 4 years now, and it's not adopted widely in the industry as of yet. Now, between the two, we'll see what happens. Chances are Pulsar might gain a large following to the point where if there's an integration with Flink, then you'll see a much larger adoption to Pulsar for that matter. But now between the two, it's up to the person themselves to choose what they would want at that point. Honestly, Apache Kafka, as I said, is something that is supported by Confluent. Basically, Kafka came out of LinkedIn, which part of that group grew up to be Confluent, basically, and they are the main contributors to the project. Whereas Pulsar, it's community driven at this point as well too. So do not be surprised if there are other companies that are going to adopt Pulsar and start making it their own mainstream distribution, and then possibly even create their own, not create their own version, but more of their own distribution to go from that aspect, but also still, committing back to the community. Think about it like this way with Cassandra. I mean, Facebook open sourced it. DataStax started taking it upon themselves to be the main contributors, similar to Spark for that matter. I mean, Databricks, they're the main ones that are the main contributors to Spark, and they're the ones that basically mostly writing to it. Whereas Cloudera is handling the HDFS and Hadoop environment. Cloudera and was Hortonworks, now they're combined, of course, at this point as well too. So we'll see how Pulsar works in the long term. But that's pretty much it. And of course, with Pulsar, of course, there's not as many connectors or libraries for it, whereas Kafka does have. And of course, there's a lot of open source projects, GitHub projects that are built for Kafka versus Pulsar. But like I said, wait for it to see what happens. And of course, I don't know many companies using Pulsar in a production environment as of yet. So we'll see what happens. And then there's the other aspect as well too, where Kafka supports quite a large number of languages. Pulsar has a limited number of programming languages, and of course, any bugs that you encounter in Pulsar, you're dependent on the community to fix it. Whereas at least with Kafka, once it's there, someone will, at least Confluent will get to it at that point. Choosing between the two, it's up to you basically. But quite honestly, do not be surprised if there are other PubSub environments like with Google's PubSub, Azure's Event Hub, or AWS's. The name is for some reason escaping me what AWS's version is. But quite honestly, I mean but they're all cloud independent. If you want to go the cloud independent route, Pulsar or yeah, Pulsar or Kafka, to be quite honest with you. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts. If you need me to describe, talk more in depth, in detail about Kafka and Pulsar or some of the use cases that you use them for, I'll gladly get into that. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll gladly create a much larger, not larger, but longer, in-depth detail video about it, basically. But with that, please subscribe, and again, hopefully, I hope you uh, briefly understand the difference between Pulsar and Kafka, and hopefully, let me know your thoughts, basically, and please subscribe again. Until next time, unfiltered, unedited, and of course, unrehearsed.